coming out for Inzane's brain fart. Missed ball steals prior to Saints try. Leeds are rank, but even they deserve a level playing field.
Inzane's, I think, is making a pun there, isn't he? On insane.
Yeah.
Zany Winehouse was late and high in classic regard in this one. Yeah, that's for certain.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, but always in our shadow, bordering on a little bit of referee issue there. There's one further on that's a little worse, but that one's okay.
David at Pennett's Paper said, this game showed the gulf at the moment between the top four and the rest. Leeds played well by their standards this year, but we're still miles off a Saints team that capitalised on carded players and a poor video ref call. Smith needs to overhaul the squad a lot, as the names on the payroll just aren't cutting it.
Esther said, Saints were too good for Leeds, but too many ref calls went in their favour. No way did Grace score. Leeds lets frustration get too much for them, but Bentley was just stupid.
It was nice for Bentley to just be stupid rather than be violent and stupid. He left that to Zany Winehouse, didn't he? Frogmore said, Benison really growing into the role in the first grade team with a great performance. Wellesby still bossing it. Walmsley having a vintage effort game. Lomax going so well, you forget he's actually playing with an injury. Bentley being a shithouse just made me laugh. Saints won in second gear because Leeds are as useless as a penis at a lesbian get-together.
That's good. John Hamilton. Some really bright passages from Leeds where they looked like they were in for the fight. Harry Newman is fantastic to have back, and there were other solid performances, but there were also some woeful bits and some odd selection choices. Is Smith injured? The most worrying is the attitude falling apart at the end. More key players need to step up. Our halves are the shit.
Cam Smith must have picked up a knock or a ban that's escaped my mind, because otherwise he'd be in the side. But
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Leeds were trying. It looked like they were just looked like they weren't at the right level to me. Like you could tell the effort was there, but then of course once the game was gone, we had that blowout at the end, and obviously it's very hard once you're down to, well, they were down to 11 at one point, so
yeah,
it's pretty tough. But yeah, I mean, you can't blame your halves for that.
No, well, I think whilst we're hitting on the halves, I think we'll pause and mention that. I think the game started with Austin looking quite confident and commanding the ball and not necessarily breaking Saints down, because not many people do, but showing some level of threat. And Caesar was a passenger. He was working with Bayern. It's his first game for 2.5 months or something, which is understandable, fair enough, I think. But as the game went on, at that point, I don't know how much then we can sort of level the criticism at the halves as it went away from them, because that was all because of other factors. It wasn't the halves missing the tackles. It wasn't the halves not laying the platform. It wasn't the halves throwing shoulders into people's heads or what have you. So,
yeah. Well, they lost the middle completely. They lost the middle. I mean, we talked about, we did the stats review and you see how many, what Walmsley did. I mean, he just went through the middle of them. Every time he touched the ball, I thought he was going to run straight through them. So, he wasn't the only one. So
no.
Once you lose the middle, it's, your halves are not going to do anything.
Well, I think Leighton Rhino touches a bit in his... Oh, he's got two here. I'd decided putting two, but his first one touches a bit on that thing about the middle. He said, watch the Wire game on telly, was jealous of the Rhinos fans enjoying a handly kiss as we smashed them. Therefore, I was close to doing a rare school night away game, 300-plus mile round trip, to see us hopefully match Saints. Thank Christ I didn't. Our pack made no meters again, even Aledzki. So any attempt to play was doomed to frantic chucking. Defence just backpedaled and got rolled again. We need 2 new props, and soon. Then Leighton also went on to say, I never criticised referees. However, I'd say Tom Grant was overawed or lost. The Saints crowd were mostly shit in terms of noise, so it can't have been the fear of the crowd. Maybe it was quiet enough for individual fans to have got to him. Maybe the ones who threw things at Bentley. How in God's name has he called a try before the video ref? What did he see? Hope Zane gets a 6-week ban. We can then appeal it to 8 weeks.
Zane.
I think I don't know overawed and that sort of thing. I can't necessarily comment on that aspect of Tom Grant's display as a referee. I do think there's a legitimate question of him specifically around that Leeds try. I think it was for the young forward whose name escapes me, the tall lad who knocked on clearly before not even really putting it down, and he sent that up as a try, which I think, to be honest, was a clear live call error. Like, we've got the video referee there to correct it, but in his own review of his own performance, he will hold his hands up and say that was a clear error. In general, beyond that, anything else, there'll have been 50-50s go each way. There'll have been close calls go each way. But that specific one, let's be fair, he'll look at himself and say he messed up, he got it wrong. But the video referee was there on this occasion to correct it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that will happen, and that's why there is a video ref there. And I mean, it's, obviously, it'd be great if everyone got everything right 100% of the time, but that's just not going to happen. And like, I run a podcast about all the what ifs, and some of the what ifs are, what if the ref had got the call right? So no one lets anything go ever. But you know what I mean? Like it's.
No, you only have to hear me talk about the 2017 Challenge Cup final, whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever it swings around.
But those things happen. Look, poor Zane. I feel so sorry for him. Don't really feel sorry for him. I don't know if he's a really nice guy or not, but I think they do. Like has been said before, they need a bit more grunt through the middle, and I don't think Zane Tedavano is doing it. So.
Well, he's providing a different sort of grunt. Do you want to give us what Mark says? Because I think he kind of touches on around that area as well, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, okay. A new coach has to be willing to move on problem players regardless of talent, salary or reputation. Watson cleared out troublemakers and egos last year. Howler's in the process of doing something similar now. If Smith is serious about turning Leeds around, he needs to tell Bentley and Tedavano to find new clubs because they don't offer anything close enough to justify what liabilities they are.
I think that's a fair sort of challenge, isn't it? Bentley, it's been like 12 months of him being absolutely fucking mental. And I think if he can find the player he was for the 18 months before that, and I think he was starting to do it, and then he just loses it. The fans obviously got to him. It sounds like there was some unsavoury aspects to that. I didn't quite notice it, but I'm sure people were giving him pelters, and hopefully it didn't spill out into anything more than that. But it sounds like someone threw some stuff at him. But Tedavano, you're just waiting for him to do something like this. And the game had gone at that point. The first sin bin had kind of taken the game away with Saints scoring just before the sin bin and then during the sin binning period. And then I just don't get it. I don't get how he goes into these challenges, and it's not a one-off. So yeah. Well, I mean, he was a bit of a thug, wasn't he, before? But he wasn't. I don't remember him always being banned in the NRL, or maybe it's just my memory. Was he always banned in the NRL?
No, he got a few bans. He had some off-field incidents too, but not as much as he has over there. But it's all about controlling his aggression, and he's just not doing it. And I just don't think he's like. I'm not sure if he's going, like, they always say, no one goes out there to hurt someone else. I don't know whether maybe Zane is going out there to hurt someone else.
I honestly think he is, with challenges like the one that was on Hurrell, or he's just he's certainly not thinking. I don't know, like, maybe he isn't intending to hurt someone, but he's not thinking about his actions having consequences. He's got a grade D charge for the striking with the hand, arm or shoulder, and referred to tribunal to decide his punishment on that grade D charge, because it's or grade D and above are referred to the tribunal. We'll see what sort of ban he gets, but he's not got any kind of mitigation in terms of his past record. So we'll see how he goes on with that. Couple more fan views to cover off. Pop the Viking said, Saints just too good for Leeds. Thought the cards were correct call by the referee. Just stupid from Bentley. It's time to get rid of on-field call when going to the video referee. If you're sure, give it. If not, go to the video ref for them to decide. Grace didn't have control of the ball, and the try should have been ruled out. That Regan Grace try has come up over and over again, hasn't it? So maybe we haven't really dwelled on it. I can't see how the video referee couldn't give it from the angles he got. The only angle that he got that clearly had the ball on the floor had the hand on the ball, and there was no angle that showed the hand actually coming off the ball. But I think, was it someone said before about him having to dislocate his wrist to get it down? It didn't feel right, did it? But at the same time, because it had gone up as a try, and with the shots that were given, I don't see how the video ref could have gone another way on that one.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. So, I mean, before, long in the dark days, when I used to referee many years ago, and we didn't have video refs, like I didn't referee at high level, but it was always like the rule book says, if you can't find a reason not to give the try, you have to give it. So that's the way the ruling is. So the video ref is going to, they're going to see the hand on the ball, and they're going to see the ball on the ground. And if they don't see anything else before that, then they're going to have to give it. So these are going to happen. This didn't make the result any different. I don't think it really changed anything. But yeah, look, that's just the way it's got to be. It's interesting that the Super League is still using what the NRL were using before, which is the referee makes the decision on field, and he either says try or no try, and then it goes up. The NRL's brought in where if he thinks the try, he just calls it, and then there's a 30-second window where the video ref is watching it, and then he stops the goal kick until, like if he thinks there is something he wants a bit more time, he'll say to the referee, I need a bit more time to check this, and then they'll call timeout. I find that makes the game flow better as well. So that might be, I don't know whether that's something that the Super League might want to look into too. It doesn't really solve this, because the same thing would have happened. It would have gone up as try. They would have been looking at the background, and then he would probably send the hand on the ball and the ball on the ground and gone, okay, we're all good to go. And the goal kick would have happened. Everyone would have been up in arms. Why didn't they check that? Which they do. They check every try now in the NRL.
Yeah.
They run them through and just make sure. But I don't know. I find it when they are tries and when they go up as try, it finds that it's a lot quicker and it just feels right. Like it just feels like the moment is right. I don't know. I'm not sure whether you know the other instances, but there are some instances where, you've got the classic bit of commentary and you've got that classic bit where someone scored a fantastic try and then they score it. And then in the background, you see the referee sort of whistle going up as if they're about to go to the video referee. And it feels like it takes away from the moment. So that's why I think they did it in NRL. But look, in this instance, if they had just gone, all right, I think it's a try, call it, I don't think he would have called it out either way. Like there was no way of telling if anything happened unless someone else has got enough different camera angle that we can't see. But I couldn't see a reason why he couldn't give that one.
No, I think there were quite a few close calls and difficult calls. There was both Conrad Hall tries. The second half one should have gone up because it was definitely knocked on somewhere by Makinson, it felt like. But the one in the first half, he had to go up and check if there was a hand on him when he was grounded before he put it forward. But there wasn't, so it was able to be given us a try and stuff. There was a few close calls, I think, in this game. It doesn't detract from St. Helens being obviously the better side, but I do think a few bounces of the ball or some of the close run decisions one way or another, and Leeds maybe could have been level at halftime. We don't know if that still wouldn't have stopped the implosion that they had in the second half. One more fan review. Do you want to do David's before we get into our views a bit more?
That's fine. So St. David said halfbacks are starting to click. Conrad on fire. Walmsley looking back to his best. Next 3 games should be decisive in the League Leaders Shield. Bring on. Did he mean Cass or Cats?
No, he
Cats,
means
Pies,
Catalans,
Giants.
Yeah,
Catalans. Bring on Catalans, Pies, Giants. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I think it is right. Saints win 2 out of those 3 games or 3 out of those 3 games, and you can't see anyone catching them for the League Leaders Shield with the lead they've already got when we get to the standings later on. So the 3 the 3 cards, 2 sin binning and 1 red card. Paul mentioned he thought they were all correct. He's an ex-referee like you are. I take his view usually over over most people's on that sort of stuff. Certainly, Bentley's, there was no choice, was there? It was stupidity. Tetevano's,